faculty. So thank you all for coming, and give yourselves a round of applause for getting these. I'm sure nearly everybody in here. I'm Matthew Maloney. I'm the Associate Chair of Animation here at SCAD Atlanta. And again, it's a highlight of the year for me. I just leave here with my heart bursting. Graduation's great, but this is just the best for me to sit down and watch this work. And I know I speak for your faculty. Your faculty are here as well. Can I ask the animation, and if there are any motion faculty as well here? I don't know if Sandra made it or not, but can I have the faculty stand up just for a second? We're going to hear from you all after the show. We're going to do our screening. At the end of the screen, we're going to ask the filmmakers to come up to the front and just have you take a bow, talk a little bit about the process. But we'll have you out of here about an hour and a half total run time. The screening will be a little shorter than that. But I just have a couple quick announcements. First is, of course, please silence your cell phones. Make sure your phones are turned off, not to disrupt the show. I also want to acknowledge something really important. This is an end of an era for me, and for a lot of us that are associated with SCAD, because my mentor in animation, but also in teaching, and a lot of ways just in life, is retiring this quarter. This is her last quarter with us, and you know what I'm talking about. This is, we need a bit of fond farewell to Professor Becky Waddle-Searles. It's an extra special show for her, I know, to see these films, and we're going to dedicate this program tonight to Jay Mackey. More about that at the end. I think if there aren't any other housekeeping business. Oh, we'll have shuttles at the end of the show to take you back.
Hi, my name is Marion J. I'm the director of Crimson Center.
Hi, I'm Tam King. I was the director of Pupa Internal.
Hi, I'm Salvi Black. I was the creator of Tomcat's Tomcat.
Hi, I'm Faith Dickey, and I did Fireproof.
Hi, I'm Miss Angry, and I did Sweet Temptation.
Hi, my name's Emily Rodriguez. I was the director of Rita and Birdo.
Hi, I'm Kieran Quinn. I made Floorbill.
My name is Ryan Atkins. I made Dreamcatcher.
I'm Misha Freiberger. I directed The Aristocrats and also did work on like 6 or 7 other films.
I'm Hannah Mangan. I'm the director of A Deer in the Woods.
Hi, I'm Lisa Mehta, and I did Train of Thought.
Hi, I'm Naveen Mehta, and I directed Mankey.
Hi, I'm Anna Haynes, and I directed Home Cooked and did an Adult Swim thing and some other stuff. I'm Ashley Young, now Padilla, and I was the director of Ouija and did some other Adult Swim stuff too.
I'm Ryan Nim. I was co-director on Skip Tutorial.
I'm Tivo. I was co-director of Skip Tutorial.
My name is Nilu. I'm the creator of Fish Tank.
My name is Catherine Muncie. I did construction.
So, what kind of, do we have any questions for the group of people? Right here in the front.
This is for Maneen Mankey. So at the very beginning of the film, it says based on a true story. I just want you to go into more detail about that.
So, it was based on a true story. I was bitten by a monkey as a little kid. What happened was, like, I was with my brother and my cousin, and they were, like, harassing this monkey. And I was just an innocent bystander, but I was also the closest to the monkey. So it came and bit me. And I tried to express my trauma through my art.
Okay, so my question is for the creators of Aristocrats and Rito Umberto. So you said that you worked on 6 or 7 like other projects, and I saw your name pop up on a bunch of different projects too. So how did you guys like work on all those other little projects and your projects?
Want to start? Sure. You know, time management, you learn it. My project was a 2D production project, so it was a part of class, and I just found time to further my skills and collaborate with other students on their films. I did a lot of color, I did some rough animation, and I had a passion for it. I wanted to get the experience of working on senior films in preparation for my own. So it's just about making the time in your schedule for it and making it a priority.
So the biggest thing for me, I think, was like finding something you really like doing, and then also finding films you really like, and also finding people you really like working with. Like it's kind of like a blend of all of those things, and then you kind of just make it work. Not always perfectly, but you find ways. If you really love what you're doing, you find a way to do it.
Other questions? Right there behind you, Professor Blanchard. Excellent.
So what's the biggest challenge, I guess anyone who wants to volunteer to answer this, what's the biggest challenge of recruiting other people to help you on your films?
That's a really good question. Yeah, what, and maybe a strategy for recruiting the people you want to work with. I'd like to answer that. Nobody wants to answer that. Not with a 10-foot pole.
My one advice is make a spreadsheet. And please reply to your emails.
That's it?
To actually piggyback off of something he said, it really comes down to finding people who are in love with the film that you're making and people that you have built a relationship with. Because if it's just a complete stranger, they're gonna flake on you. Like 6 times out of 10, they're gonna flake on you. Because we all have classes, we all have other films we're working on, so if it's not something they're passionate about and they don't have a personal relationship with you, then you just have to kind of be okay with knowing that they may or may not stick around to the end of the film. So.
Okay. Yes? What have you ever done with your filmmaking career?
Hi, so one of the things that I found was really useful for recruiting people is having a blog up ahead of time. So if you have production artwork already up, you have your character turnarounds and stuff, it's really easy to send someone there and say, hey, this is the film I'm making, this is what it looks like, and then you don't have to like explain it every single time. And plus they have an idea that you're organized enough and you know what you're doing, that you've done all that work ahead of time, so they know that you're gonna take care of them once they're on the project. It's not like you're kind of like, hey, I have this idea, make it for me. Like you're, yeah, so I think that helps.
We have a question over here. I want to ask you guys, is there anything about the film that you just made and showed in Atlantamation that you learned that you want to take into the next film you make into the future? What's something that stuck out? You're like, okay, the next film I'm making in the future, I have to make sure I either do this, do that, or maybe the type of workflow or the way that you recruited people, anything that stuck out that you learned?
Hi. So this is the first time I'm in any kind of screening, and one thing that really stuck out to me, I hadn't realized this before, but next time I really want to make sure I give a shout out to the people who really help me make these things. You know, I want to give a big shout out to Professor Jason Butcher. He was during 2D principles, and he that course was tough. It was tough, but he encouraged me to take my work even further and finish it. So thank you.
You're welcome. management is so important. I'm sure many of you guys know. Project management and handling, our film had like 80 shots, so getting people to help and like having the students be like, hey, you want to help me with our film, and maybe brag them like with cookies or give them something, because every student here is doing it, you know, for free, and that's nice. But I guess the thing going forward I would learn more about is project management and just learning, putting what I learned from this project to my next project. So, yeah.
Hi. So the one thing that I did learn was not being afraid to fail, especially if you like put your film up and you're like, oh, that didn't go over well. It's like, oh man, I forgot to clean that. But it's just like, you know, just putting your work out and taking the step to do something that you've never done before. So.
Anybody else want to add?
I think what I took away the most from this is that there's a certain point where you have to kind of push through the question yourself phase and just move on to the finish things phase. Because you can spend as much time as you want like second guessing the angle of something or the art style or how you approached something, but there's a point where in the industry and in your personal projects, unless you just want to keep working on something until you die and never show it to anyone, you have to decide, I'm just working towards finishing this now and to producing something that I can then put on my little shelf of like finished works and maybe someday in the future revisit it, but just make something that can be by itself. And I started A Deer in the Woods like really, really late. And there was a lot of that, like, oh my gosh, did I make a terrible mistake? Do I need to just scrap this and start something else? But you're allowed to have those doubts, just keep working while you have them and just kind of ignore them along the way. And yeah, and then you can finish something and show it to people and they clap afterwards and you're like, oh, I guess it's not that bad after all.
Let's do one more question. One more. Okay, yeah, right there.
Hi, I'd like to talk to the creator of Pupa Eterna. What was the inspiration behind your film?
Hi, so I grew up in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and so that location, really? Wow! Okay, but yeah, so that was a huge inspiration, and like, I wanted to draw from imagery that I associated with my own childhood, so like digging up cicada pupa and like having shells all over the place in the summer and that kind of thing. And I did have trouble with my driver's test. Like, I eventually did learn how to drive, but that was a big deal to me because when I was a kid, I didn't want to grow up. And I was like, well, this is one of those things where if you do it, you can't really go back. So I kind of wanted to express what that feeling is like in an indirect, maybe kind of more poetic way.
Thank you very much to the filmmakers, and last but not least, please take a bow. Good luck to these guys and how hard this is. Thank you very much for coming out tonight. Good luck with your finals. See you next week. Good luck.